The national federal legislative body.
Aside from providing non-stop programming for C-SPAN, the legislative branch is responsible for doing things like suggesting, forming, and passing laws. But you'll learn later that the legislative branch can't do this without the aid of the executive branch. However, the legislative branch was given specific powers known as enumerated powers. The Constitution laid out 17 of these enumerated powers, including the power to tax, coin money, regulate commerce, and provide for the national defense. The most important power given to Congress via the Constitution is the power to make laws. Both houses of Congress are involved in the lawmaking process. No proposed laws, called bills, can become laws without the consent of both houses. Besides the power to make laws, the Congress also has the powers to declare war, raise an army and navy, coin money, regulate commerce, establish federal courts and their jurisdiction, and establish rules of immigration and naturalization. These legislative powers are called enumerated powers because they are specifically spelled out in the Constitution.
Lastly, both houses have the power to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers. You may recognize this concept as the Necessary and Proper Clause from the Constitution. The Necessary and Proper Clause allows Congress to increase their authority in order to get the rest of their job done.
Esteemed members of the House, a motion for an increase in power and authority. Super Congress.
Basically, this means that either house can initiate the passage of a law that they think will help the Congress do a better or more efficient job at their enumerated powers. The powers we just said were spelled out in the Constitution. The powers created based on the Necessary and Proper Clause are also referred to as implied powers.
Finally, a quick word about the makeup of Congress. As we said before, there are two parts to Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House has 435 members. The Senate has 100 members. Together, these 535 members of the legislative branch are responsible for making and passing laws, budgets, and national decisions. But they don't have the power to enforce any of the laws that they make. To do that, we have to look at the executive branch.
Article 1 of the Constitution establishes the legislative branch. It states that all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. Where does Congress work? It works in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. The legislative body is Congress. Congress is responsible for writing bills, these are laws, and public policy. Public policy is the government's response to the people's issues. When we see problems in our communities or our states or as a whole nation, we try to solve these problems by creating laws. Congress is bicameral. Bicameral means that there are two houses. We have both the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Senate has 100 members. To be a senator, you must be at least 30 years old, be a U.S. citizen for at least 9 years, and be a resident of the state that you are actually going to represent. You're able to serve 6-year terms. House of Representatives. There are 435 members, and these are based on state population. Remember when we talked about the Electoral College? To be a representative, you must be at least 25, be a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years, Be a resident of the state and district you will represent. Representatives serve 2-year terms. What else does Congress have the power to do? Congress approves presidential appointments. They approve the annual budget. They approve treaties. They declare war. They raise revenue through taxes. And they regulate interstate and foreign trade.